I want to tell you a little bit about my reading journey because I'm a little bit of a mood reader, but I'm trying to get more organized while I'm reading. And I have been on this binge where I read a book and I get inspired to learn a little bit more about a particular slice of that book. And so I've got three different examples that I kind of want to share with you a little bit to kind of give you an idea about where my reading style is and kind of where this journey's taken me and kind of maybe in the direction of maybe where my reading journey is kind of going. I have been reading some really fantastic books, and it has led me to kind of do deep dives into smaller slices of those books. And so I thought I'd give you three examples of these are all nonfiction books that I've read that kind of led me to dive deeper into a person or an event. Dan Jones is one of my favorite authors, and he wrote The Plantagenets, and this is about the Middle Ages monarchs, the Plantagenets. These are some of the best and the worst monarchs in English history. Now, there is a particular person in this book that I really wanted to deep dive into because I found him to be very interesting, and that is William Marshall, the Greatest Knight. And this is all about William Marshall's life. It goes from his early childhood all the way up through his death. And along the way, you can see that he is being very loyal to the king. And also, he benefits a lot from having friendships with multiple monarchs of the Plantagenets. Nick Turse wrote Kill Anything That Moves. This is a story about Vietnam and about the atrocities that occurred there. Most of them were done by American soldiers. Now, this is just a snapshot of the Vietnam War, and so I wanted to dig deeper into the Vietnam War. That led me to Max Hastings' Vietnam, and I'm currently reading this one now. I'm really enjoying this. This goes into an extreme deep dive into the War of Vietnam. I'm kind of going through this one slowly, but I am learning so much about the Vietnam War, about the Vietnamese people in general, and I couldn't recommend this book enough. The Double Shots and Historic Plots Book Club over on Fable read Cuba, An American History by Ada Ferreira. This book opened my eyes to Cuban history because I know about different events that happened in Cuba and on the island and how it affected the United States. But this is a much more of a deep dive into about 300 or 400 years of Cuban history. And I found this to be very interesting, but I wanted to know more. Because sometimes books like this that give you a really good span of history allows you to explore some of the smaller pieces. And that's what this book allowed me to do. I wanted to learn more about Cuba, and I also wanted to learn a little bit more about the territories that the United States had. And that book led me to this one, How to Hide an Empire by Daniel Immerwahr. This book gives you a really good idea about all of the different ways the United States gained all the different territories that it has, and some of those that we've kind of given them their own independence. You really want to learn about how the United States really is an empire and try really hard to deny it. This is a book that you want to read. This book has also led me to a couple other books because How to Hide an Empire covers so many different territories. It got me into this book, which is War Against All Puerto Ricans. And this book is about the revolution, the failed revolution. Puerto Ricans tried to happen in the 1950s to break away from the United States. One of the ways in which I'm being influenced by books like this is I get interested in seeing some of the politics of how the U.S. government dealt with the territories and just really about Latin America itself. And so this book is leading me into the next book that I'm going to be reading here very soon, which is another Max Hastings book, and it is The Abyss. And this book is all about the Cuban Missile Crisis. Those are just three examples of kind of how my brain works. Let me know down in the comments, what are some of the books that you've read that have led you down a journey of exploration on that topic, or maybe it's a person, or it's a place, or it's an event.